ESPN.
After reviewing the tapes yesterday, just kind of reaffirmed in our mind, we had a solid win over the weekend. We challenged our team last Monday that the toughest team was going to win that game. Anytime you go on the road in conference play, it's going to be a difficult assignment, and our guys were up to the task. It was a hostile environment, difficult weather conditions to deal with, and our guys persevered through that, and I was pleased with the effort. Having said that, we know that the challenge goes up dramatically this week, playing the 22nd ranked team in the country, playing a team that we haven't beaten in quite a while, and in fact it hasn't been real close. They've done an excellent job up there in Boise, and really have set the standard, and regardless of what league they've been in, and that if you want to contend for a conference championship, it has to go through Boise. And our guys realize that. And we've been looking for this date probably since camp started. So with that, we'll open up to any questions.
To get a road win already going into Boise, how much does that help as you prepare for conference-wise?
I think it definitely helps confidence. When you go on the road, things are different. The conditions are different. You're sleeping in a different bed. All those things can be factors if you let them. To go out and make sure that you get the job done. And I like to, our business-like attitude. You can't help but get confidence when you go out and have success after that. The fact that we're 2-0 in the conference is where we wanted to be, and that's what gives you also confidence going into this game.
You'll leave a little early because of the early start on Saturday, or are you going to do the same regimen?
Our routine is we want to take care of most of our work here in Fresno, get to the hotel late afternoon, and go into our normal routine on the day before a game.
I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the Boise State, Fresno State games in the past. Okay. Well, what sticks out about this year's Boise team?
Well, they're very similar to watching Boise from back when I remember being in Reno playing against them. They're very well coached. They've got excellent athletes. They're very physical on defense. Chase the ball extremely hard. They're forcing takeaways, much like our defense is. Offensively, they're going to bloody your nose with the power running game. They're going to disguise it with a number of shifts and motions. They do a really good job of doing that, but the bottom line is they're going to try to run the ball down your throat and set up their play action pass game, and then when you think you got that settled in, they're going to hit you with some gadget plays. They've done a great job with it over the years, especially since Coach Peterson's been there, and we know it's going to be a tall task Saturday.
The top two teams in the nation in terms of taking the football away, you won, Boise 2. In what manner defensively do they put themselves in position to take the football away?
Well, I think they've got an excellent front. They put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. They've got guys on the back end that can intercept the ball, and they're violent when they get to ball carriers and knock balls loose. So they're doing a lot of good things, obviously with 17 takeaways, and I think they have got one less game than we have. So we know we've got to be very, very diligent in our ball security this week. I really think that the winner of the turnover margin battle this weekend is obviously going to have a leg up on how this game turns out.
I know that there's a lot of season left, but do you feel like this is the conference championship on the line?
I don't know if the conference championship is on the line, but clearly when you start the season, you realize, given their past, given what they've done, if you want to contend in this conference, the path to winning this conference goes through Boise, and it's just one more step in our journey trying to get to a conference championship, and we just know that it's a big one this week.
You guys just had your most heavily penalized game. Wyoming lost its quarterback in an overtime game because he was kicked out on penalties. How much focus do you put on guys' ability to handle a call that doesn't go their way, or just maintaining their composure?
I think we've done a decent job in maintaining our composure. I want our guys playing right to the edge of the rules. I mean, we're going to play aggressively. We're going to coach aggressively. There's going to be times that you're going to have penalties of aggression, and I don't mind those as much. Dumb penalties, jumping off sides, taking delay of games we'll take some delay of games on purpose, but when we're not trying to take a delay and we take a delay or a false start, those type of things, clearly you've got to eliminate. Swinging at somebody after a play because they did something untoward to you, those kind of things we've got to do a much better job and clean up.
Coach, you think the weather and hostile environment in Bronco Stadium will play a factor or affect the team at all?
I mean, we've played in cold, we've played in a hostile environment, so they're factors. I don't think it's going to make near the difference as the guys playing for Boise State and the guys that are coaching them do. They do an excellent job in that regard.
Can you talk about Derek's maturation? I mean, if you look from touchdown to interception ratio, he ranked second in the country, especially in this offense, how quickly he's caught on, and maybe how Boise hasn't seen any kind of offense like yours so far this season.
Well, we've obviously been very pleased with how Derek's played, and it's a function of how much work he puts in. He's got a lot of natural ability. A lot of players that have a lot of natural ability don't work at it nearly as hard as Derek does, and I think that's why he's such a good leader for us. He doesn't just talk the talk; he walks the walk, and the numbers bear that out. In his effectiveness. When you throw 4 touchdown passes and complete 70% of his throws last week, and no interceptions, and people say he had a down game, I guess that's a compliment.
How would you assess the way after watching whether you watched how the offense played on Saturday?
I thought we did some really good things. We had 200 yards in the first half. I heard we had a slow start, but we had 14 points and 200 yards of total offense. I guess comparing it to having 69 points or 55 points at the half, we didn't do very good. But I mean, I don't know that's going to be the standard every week. So, I think you have to give credit to Colorado State's defense. Marty English is an excellent coach, and he had a good plan, and those guys played hard. I mean, they have a lot of pride. And I thought our guys, effectively moved the ball, but we had some penalties that we shot ourselves in the foot. You can't, we did it a few times, but you can't always have first down and 25 and be able to move the football. And we had way too many of those, whether it was, a clipping call, a late hit, an offensive pass interference, those kind of things kill your drives, and we've got to eliminate those.
Do you tell your guys, you're not playing the past, you're playing the 2012 Boise State football team? You kind of stress that?
Oh, absolutely. That's what we talked to our guys about on Saturday after the CSU game was. I think everybody went into the season looking at October 13th as a key date. And I reminded them, I said, look guys, the 2012 Bulldogs have never lost at Boise. And we'll find out Saturday. That's what we have control over. And I think our guys look forward to accepting that challenge.
Coach, were you upset at all at upset at the last touchdown being scored by Colorado State? And if so, or if not, how much does the role of finishing, whether it be a win, whether it be a shutout, come into your kind of speeches this week during practice?
I'm upset anytime an offense scores. I guess it's my nature being a defensive coach. We clearly had a bust on a coverage 2 plays before they scored, and we had a bust on technique the play that they did score. And I don't care if it's a starter, if it's a backup, a guy that's played 3 snaps, he's got to play our defense. And you put guys in those situations so that they get game experience. They've got to find a way to get it done. Again, the flip side, give CSU credit. Those guys did not quit. They did not give in. Clearly they weren't going to win the football game, but they were determined to try to get a score, and they did, so you got to give them credit.
And that being said, does it make you smile at all to be answering questions about giving up 1 touchdown very late in the game?
I guess it's a little bit like the Derek question on 4 touchdowns and no picks. But yes, I think our defensive staff is doing a great job. I think our players have done a really nice job of buying in. But I'm really proud of our defensive staff and instilling the style of defense we want to play. taking the ball away, doing a good job on third down, and doing a good job against the run. All the key things that we talk about all the time, our players are coming through on, and then we need to do that if we want to win a championship.
Offensively, second game in a row that you hit that the third down conversion percentages, I think 47% that you like. I mean, did something along the way improve in that area that you can put your finger on?
Well, I think, Derek's making good decisions. I think anytime you have third and manageable, it's much easier than having third and 25s, which, a few games ago, we had a bunch of those. We had a couple of them the other day. You're just not going to hit, a high percentage of those. I thought Derek did a nice job of using his feet to, whether it was a third down or fourth down, to move the sticks, extend plays. He does a really nice job of seeing what's there. If it breaks down, escaping. We got to get him to do a better job in the red zone of not taking a sack and getting us knocked out a little bit. And we had the one intentional grounding call. We just got to make a quicker decision. But again, that's part of him growing and learning, when he can take chances and when he can't and when he's got to get out of there. But I'm really pleased the last couple of weeks with how we've done there in third down.
Coach, you've been going for it more on fourth down inside, maybe that 35-yard line, 30-yard line. The announcers on the TV coverage said they felt like you didn't have confidence in quick pursuers. True or not true?
I didn't know they took mind reading. I don't take it till next semester. If you look at how we've coached all year long, we get into that. I talk to Coach Schramm all the time. We get to about the 40-yard line to the 20-yard line. I tell him all the time, on third down, we got 2 downs. And I think as a play caller, that gives him an advantage. We may have third down and 6 and third down and 7, and we've done that a couple of times. We've run the football, which messes with the defense. If you're trying to go to a sub package and bring dime personnel in, and we're running the football, we may get it there or set up a 4th and 2, and we're going for it. So that's part of the plan. It has nothing to do with Quentin. He missed a field goal the other day. I thought he struck it really, really well. He just, misaimed slightly. I mean, I think he missed it by maybe a foot. We got a lot of confidence. Quentin hit all the extra points, and he's going to hit some game winners for us somewhere down the line here. I'm confident of it.
Does Boise do anything tricky defensively, or no, on the defensive side?
Okay.
That may or disguise
I mean,
difficulty?
they're going to disguise some of their pressures. I don't know if tricky is the word I use. I think they're a very physical, very sound, fundamental defense. They were with Justin Wilcox, and Pete Kwiatkowski's done a really good job of maintaining that, and maybe even going further in how physical and how sound they are. They'll bounce back and forth between a 3-man front and a 4-man front, and that can create some issues.
What about your D-line now, moving forward? You can see Nico start Saturday. Is that your expectation?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll go through with this week of practice, and we'll probably list a depth chart Friday or Saturday for the game.
You think points will be at a premium in this game, knowing, a couple of the top 2 defenses when it comes to takeaways, and obviously a couple of the best in the country? Do you think points will be at a premium?
I mean, it kind of always is. We'll see how the game plays out. We're going to run our offense. I think playing spread up-tempo style of offense, I think people have seen we can be explosive at times. Defensively, we've got to limit their big play. They're going to pound the ball with the power at you so that they can get your safeties in the box and try to throw the ball over your head. Everybody knows that. It's much more difficult to stop, not just know what they're going to do. And if they hit some of those, we're going to have to get some scores to make up for it. If we can defend it and we can make some big plays on our end, then they're going to have to come back. It's just how the game's going to play out.
And what's your thoughts on Boise State's blue turf, and sometimes they play with
It's
their
blue?
uniform?
I think it's, I don't know, it's guys that play on that field. The fact that it's blue makes no difference at all. I mean, maybe they get more fired up about it, or the fans do. I mean, it's grass, it's field turf, whatever it is.
And what about when they play with the blue uniforms on top of that? Does that make that difficult at all? I know the Mountain West, for at least last year, was prohibiting that.
This year too.
Oh, this year
They're
too.
not allowed.
I guess it won't be an issue then.
Coach, is there any game plan to getting running back Robbie Rouse going? Robbie Rouse, is there any game plan? He's had 2 subpar rushing performances the last 2 games.
What do you determine is subpar?
Well, he hasn't gone over 100 yards, so.
Did he go over 100 this game?
Did he? 124. But he didn't splash or get a touchdown. But it just seems like he's not involved as much in the rushing game.
He had 124 yards.
But the game prior to the prior game.
Yeah, San Diego State put man coverage outside, 0 coverage, so, and they put 7 guys in the box. And so we faked it to him and we threw it to the guys that had 500-something yards passing.
I guess I'm just saying, is he didn't score last game.
He didn't score? Right, okay. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take what the defense gives us. That's how we kind of game plan every week. If they're going to try to overplay Robbie, we'll throw the ball. If they're going to try to do what CSU did and try to play 2 high safeties, then he'll have a better, we'll try to make it a little bit more splashy, but have a better job with him running the ball. But each week we try to get him involved in different ways, whether we're throwing it to him out of the backfield, the inner empty package, or handball, because he's clearly one of our best players.
Coach, do you feel that your team this year has completed a full game as far as each quarter, their intensity has been up?
That's a good question. I don't know that we've played 4 quarters consistently. I think we've been intense. I think the San Diego State game, we didn't start very well. I thought our intensity was good. We just made some big mistakes at the start of the game, start of the 3rd quarter. But I think our intensity throughout was pretty consistent. The Colorado game, we came out and played really well in the first half, but it kind of waned. The game, it was hard to maintain that intensity.
Do you tell your players anything to try to pump them up as far as when you see that the game's kind of changing and you need to get that intensity back?
Yeah, clearly. Every time, our coaches on the sideline, I think, do a really good job. If there's a lull, we're going to get guys' attention. Whether we're up, whether we're down, we want our players playing at that same level. And, on defense, we talk about put the ball down, let's just play. I don't care. Don't look at the scoreboard, put the ball down. And that's how we want our guys playing. Don't look at the scoreboard, put the ball down, let's snap it and see if you can move the ball on us.
You got your first block punt of the season. How much are you stressing that? Because maybe special teams could be that one key play in this game. So, I mean, or do you feel like you're going to really try to go after punts in this game if that's...
Well, I think Pete Germano does an excellent job of evaluating every aspect of the special teams. Last week we thought that with that particular block we put on, which I think was the first time we ran that particular block, we would have a chance to get it, and our guys came through. Kyrie had a great effort coming through there, really stormed the wall. I think we had about 5 guys on the shield, which can really stress a punt team. This week, he'll have a plan. We always carry a block in. Now, whether it's warranted during the game, Pete and I discussed it at that point. I think we were up 7. They were back on their own end. We didn't feel they were going to fake it, and he made a great call.
For me, like the feel of that game when that happened, it was kind of a continuation of a call that you made before that. When you called timeout on defense, they're trying to run out the clock before halftime. Talk about that mentality, because it seemed to me like an aggressive statement by you that, hey, we want the ball back because we're going to score.
Well, I felt that our defense was doing a really good job of kind of controlling the line of scrimmage, getting them into predictable 3rd and long situations, and if they were going to try to run the ball out, they were backed up. I thought we could get the ball maybe at midfield, and that was my initial thought. And then Coach Germano said, hey, what do you think about the block here? And I kind of perked up. I said, yeah, that sounds great. Let's go. If you feel like it's, this is the time for it. And he said, heck yeah, and he made the call. But the thing I was pleased at, off the first turnover that Phillip caused, our offense took the ball, scored. Off of the short field from the punt block, offense took it and scored. And if we can continue to do those kind of things, I like our chances the rest of this year.
If someone did that to you, what you did to them in that situation, would you take that as like a challenge, like that's showing some attitude? It's challenging them that, hey, we're going to give you more time if you want it to get down the field.
I don't know, I guess. if they want to call timeouts and help Derek and Robbie and the gang, giddy up, let's go.
So you knew you were laying down a challenge there, basically. Right? I mean, it's kind of a gutsy
I guess I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
I looked at it that I felt really confident in our defense. I got a sense that they were just trying to run the clock out and that we can get one more possession right before half. And I really like our offense in a 2-minute situation. I think we've done a nice job at the end of halves, going down and getting points, and I'm glad it worked out.
What we haven't seen yet, and that was a situation where you got that and you knew you were getting it first in the second half, and you've had that a few times this year, but so far we haven't seen that opening drive in the second half turn into points. How frustrating is that, and what's it going to mean when you finally get it?
It's going to mean I'm a little bit happier, but you're right. We've got to do a better job. Maybe we got to get our guys out of the locker room earlier, get them warmed up. We got to do something different to get our guys going to start the second half. I like starting the game on defense and deferring till the second half. I don't know if that's better all the time, but it's just kind of my comfort zone. But clearly, no matter if we're up or down, offensively, we got to do a better job of starting in that second half.
You think that might change in this particular road game, just to see if you can jump on Boise early?
We'll see. We may not have a choice if we lose the toss, but we'll probably defer, because that's generally my default position, is if all things are equal. We're gonna defer.
You got an awesome oil can hanging around here, the milk can. I mean, has this team talked about it? I mean, is that the ultimate trophy right now?
Well, I think, for what it represents, our association and our history with Boise, we're not going to play them, next year, and I don't know when in the foreseeable future we're going to. I think that, for this region, we've got some very proud California dairy farmers here that would like to see that milk can here in California. I think it would be big, and so I know our players would love to have that sit next to the oil can, and probably have a better chance to maybe take a sip out of that one, like a Stanley Cup, as opposed to that oil can.
Does that give you some family credibility?
Yeah, probably would there too. Although I've got a cousin, I think, that's up in that Boise, drinking that Boise Kool-Aid, because he's part of that dairyman association that helps them. So I got to give my cousin Nick a call up there.
How would you assess how Andy Jennings is playing this season? I believe he's tied atop the country in forced fumbles.
I didn't know that, but I think Andy's playing really, really well. He's made tremendous strides from last spring. He started out as a backup in the spring. He earned a position, and he's been a very, very productive player for us. And the thing I like about him is he's not satisfied with just getting hits on quarterbacks. He's stripping footballs, and that's what it's going to take this kind of a game, is to have a guy like him force some things, force some takeaways, and when he didn't force the one that Phillip, he was the guy that jumped on top of it.
Have they been blocking him or trying to block him a certain way that's allowed him to free himself up and get those pressures? Or, have they been leaning more toward doubling Tyler or?
No. As we evaluate teams, they typically have certain protections based on what front you show them and whether we're in an odd front or an even front. Andy's won a lot of one-on-ones. We haven't seen a whole lot of teams trying to double him or chip him. And I don't know, maybe in the future we'll see that, but for right now he's getting a pretty good bit of one-on-ones, and he's winning his fair share.
How would you assess how Boise's offense has progressed throughout this season? With what they were struggling a lot early on, and they still.
Well, Michigan State, I think, has an excellent defense. I think BYU's got an excellent, especially run defense. You play a couple of those defenses, it's going to be uphill a little bit. But Southern Miss, is struggling a little bit this year, but defensively, Ellis Johnson, their head coach, I've personally clinicked with. He's an excellent defensive coach, and they hung 40 on him in Southern Miss. So certainly they're feeling better about themselves. Their defense did a nice job, with 5 takeaways and setting up a lot of those scores. They're doing a little bit like what we're doing, is ham and egg, and defense is providing a spark, and the offense is taking advantage.
I know it's 2012 Bulldogs against 2012 Broncos, but when you look at Chris Peterson, you see that 77 and 7. how eye-popping is that for someone who's been in this business for a long time to see what he's done?
That's extremely impressive. You know, Coach Hawkins had done a great job there prior to Pete taking over, and Pete was part of that staff, but he's taken it to another level. And, you know, they've done a great job of not just taking care of this league, but going outside the conference and beating people outside the conference. You got to tip your hat to them. But this is a new year, and, you know, I like the 2012 Dogs, and we'll see what happens Saturday.
Any last questions for Coach?